When you activate your suppressed darkness, when you activate your demon, when you activate and heal and awaken your root chakra energy and power, it is going to empower you. It is going to require that you not be just beauty, but also beast. You can't be all light, honey. You have got to be dark if you are going to survive. And not only survive, but thrive. Princess Diana, ancestors, rest her soul. Princess Diana is a prime example of a person who had all the right ideas, who was soft and magnetic and beautiful and sexy, but she lacked her beast. And for this reason, she was easy to be picked off. And for so many of us on this journey of becoming the alchemists, this was also our journey. Except we were able and blessed and given chance after chance because we are the chosen. And we've had rebirth. So now that we have been reborn, what are we going to do with this power? Let's get into it. Welcome to Alcheminity, because turning pain into power is sexy. And I am your host and creator of this colony and many colonies we are building around our globe. I am your queen bee, Miss Burgess, if you're nasty. Listen, this has hit home for me for some time. I've actually felt guided to watch Spencer, which is a movie/documentary played by, is it Kristen Stewart? You know, our girl in Twilight, Bella. Okay, played by Bella. Okay. I've actually felt guided to watch this on Netflix, but I've watched so many different documentaries with about Princess Diana and her life. And, you know, there's so many women that come to mind, as I mentioned before, Marilyn Monroe, Lola Falana, Tina Turner, Janet Jackson, like so many women who embody this power, this sensual and sexual energy, which is a part of their mission and their purpose, right? This was a part of their magic. This was a part of the gifts that they offered this world, is through their sensual and sexual energy, through their magnetism and through their beauty. This is what they came to bring to the world. Princess Diana, I think about her because she just had this magnetism. As we all know, she had this attractiveness, this beauty, even this sex appeal. Even though she had to carry herself in a certain way, she was really wild at heart. She had such a beast inside of her, y'all. But she was not able to activate this beast because of the path that she chose, or maybe the path that was chosen for her. But essentially she chose it for herself. She said yes, right, to marry and enter into a so-called royal family. And, she had to play this role. She had to play this overly humble role. She almost had to dumb down how powerful she really was. And unfortunately, this was to her detriment. She ran from who she really was. And there were moments where she got to escape her title when she would visit Africa often, when she would be dancing, running in the grass barefoot. Princess Diana was definitely an expression of the divine feminine. She was also, she also embodied the wild woman. For those of you who've ever come across, or maybe you've read or heard of, what's the name of that book? The woman who dances with wolves or runs with wolves. I've not had the chance to read that, but I do plan to do it. But Princess Diana definitely embodied her own beast, but she suppressed it and she hid it. And again, this was to her detriment. And I'm bringing this up because some of you who've are here listening, obviously, to this right now, you are alchemists. You have had to become the alchemist because you've been through the most shit. You've had to learn to turn your pain into power. And so there is a benefit that we get from stories like Princess Diana, because again, many of us are being called into positions of power, into positions of leadership. Some of you are being called to marry into prestigious families, royal families. Right now, Eve, the rapper Eve, is coming to mind. She was one of my favorite female rappers growing up. She was just in my time growing up in high school, but I always listened to her stuff. But, even Eve is a great example of, some of us being called to turn our pains into power in ways that are considered, uncommon for where you've come from. For those of us who are alchemists, we've had to get it out the mud. We've come from the hard knock life, right? It's the hard knock life for us, right? Instead of treated, we got tricked. Instead of kisses, we got kicked. It was a hard knock life, not anymore, okay? Because we've turned pain into power. We've learned how to alchemize this shit, right? We've learned how to turn those things that were pitted against us to work for us and with us. Hello. So I'm thinking about Eve, but many of you are being called into these types of positions of powers, marrying into certain families like Princess Diana, because you have missions and purposes to fulfill, obviously, right? Eve is fulfilling missions and purposes with the man that she decided to marry. This has changed the trajectory of not only her life, but her family's life, her lineage, her bloodline, her child, or if she has more children, her future children, if they have more. But she shifted her lifeline when she decided to allow her magnetism and her sex appeal to turn her pain into power, right? When Eve first came out, she had this rough rider, right? But because of us who've had to become alchemists, we have the privilege of having learned how to activate our beasts. And we needed to do that because of some of the positions we're being called in. We are being called into some very powerful things, and we cannot go into these things being all light. You have to be able to go dark when necessary. In a nutshell, power isn't designed for just good people. And what I mean by that is power isn't designed for people who are weak in their mind, weak in their spirit, weak on an energetic level. They will not survive. And for those of us who've had to become alchemists, our old selves didn't survive, did they? No. They had to die. That's why we were able to become phoenixes who rose into the dawn of our new days. Our old selves had to die because they were too soft. They were too green. They were too vulnerable. They were too gullible. They were too overly humble, right? And this was to our detriment. So Eve, I'm going back to her again, she came up through the hard knock life. She came up with her beast, right? From the streets of Philly, Philly, where I am from, she came out in her masculine and her feminine energy. But when she came out with Rough Riders, she was first lady of Rough Riders. She had all men masculines around her. Now, remember, I gave this example before. What did I say before? In a past video, I'll probably tag it in this one, but in a past video, I mentioned that there would be men that will help you before women will. If you are an alchemist who's activated in your beauty and your magnetism and your spiritual abilities, your talents, your skills, your gifts, all of that, okay, which makes you attractive. All right. You are going to get a lot of support from men because you are in your divine feminine energy. You've activated this divine goddess, which will require help from masculine energies. That's just how it goes. It's the yin and yang. They are going to come in to protect you and to safeguard your passage, as I mentioned before, and as you're coming into your purpose and your mission on this planet. So when Eve came out, she had all that masculine energy around her because she was in her power and her purpose. She was evolving. She was coming up. And so that masculine energy needed to be around her to guide her and protect her, right? And so obviously she evolved from Rough Riders as she came further into her mission and her purpose, right? And now having married, though she already had her wealth, she already, amassed her own empire, Okay. She already came into her talents and her gifts. And again, you being called into your talents and your gifts doesn't mean you have to, be a major world renowned success. You don't have to be making millions of dollars or anything like that. That will not stop you from your calling. You will still evolve into your path, right? You don't have to be fully, you don't have to be a multi-billionaire and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying we have to travel down the same path, but you are successful in your own right. You may not be making millions of dollars, but you're successful in your own right. Okay. You've accomplished some things. You are accomplishing some things. You are waking up to your truths and your gifts, and you're bringing that stuff to the world. Maybe that's through speaking or writing. Maybe it is through singing, rapping, dancing, whatever it is. You're already in that. You're already activating and awakening that. And so as you do that, yes, these masculine energies are going to come in to protect that type of energy. And so going back to Princess Diana, power and activating power and being in a position of power and leadership, it is not for the weak. It is not for the faint of heart. Okay. And I mentioned Princess Diana because, again, she was just such a great example of the divine feminine, but the divine feminine who had not activated not only her beauty, but her beast, right? That Princess Diana was fully in her beauty and in her magnetism, but she hadn't activated or become comfortable or was comfortable with her beast, with the shadow parts of herself that would tell people when to get the fuck off, right? As a princess, you have to carry yourself a certain way, as we know this. But there are certain things, y'all, we're just going to keep it real. There are certain things and ways you can be to protect yourself, to let people know not to cross this line, even when you are wearing your crown. Even when you are sitting on the throne of your divinity, because even God isn't all omnipotent and soft and overly humble. Okay. Again, I'm not a religious person, but you can go in scripture and read times when God was like, kill that motherfucker over there. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying going out there and shooting people and killing people. Don't go doing no silly shit and talking about, well, Miss Burgess, if you're nasty, said I'm supposed to. Queen Bee with Alcheminity said I'm supposed to. No. All right. That's not this type of conversation. Listen. I'm bringing up Princess Diana, and I brought up Marilyn Monroe before because, again, your divine energy, once you heal your root chakra and awaken it and raise this energy up, it's yummy, it's juicy, it's delicious. People want to take of that. People either want to usurp it or they want to control it, meaning they want to usurp your power, or if they can't take it from you, they want to control you while you're in it. And if they can't do either, then what do you think the next step will be? Because to them, you are much too beautiful and magnetic and talented and attractive. You can't be beauty and brains and the anomaly and the unicorn and a chosen one and an activated one. No, that's too much for them, right? Because they've not fully activated in their power. So to them, you are a threat. And what do people do to things that they fear? They attempt to cut it down. They attempt to unalive it, to kill it, to take it out, to get rid of it, right? This is the case with Marilyn Monroe. This is the case with Princess Diana. But I am going to watch Spencer. If you all feel guided to watch it, go ahead and watch it too. Again, I've seen many documentaries with her. In every interview that I've ever seen and listened to her, I was just like, wow, she was so much in her light that she forgot about her dark. When you activate and heal your root chakra and this serpent kundalini energy rises up to activate all parts of you fully into your power and your purpose, your dark energy, your serpent kundalini energy, your shadow self, your demons, your Lucifer is designed to protect you and to safeguard you. And to our detriment, we've been taught a lie about demons and Lucifer and our dark shadow selves. We've been taught lies about what this even is. If it was not supposed to be, God would not have created it. Even anger has a place. Everything has its role. There is such a thing as righteous anger. Princess Diana didn't know how to tap into her righteous anger. She would suppress it because this is what she was taught to do. Well, princesses don't tell people when they can shut the fuck up. Okay? Princesses have to show up to this meet and greet, to this event in a room full of people that don't like her. Well, for those of you who are here listening to this right now, again, you are alchemists, all right? You are the activated ones. If when you are called into these positions of power, maybe some of you will become marry into some type of royal whatever and become princes or princesses or kings or queens of some country. Who knows? Right now I'm hearing Lisa Ray. Lisa Ray? Is it Lisa Ray that married that king from that other island? And she became a queen, right, of an island or something like that. If I'm not mistaken, I'm thinking about her. Regardless of how it turned out, okay, that was a calling that she answered, but she didn't know how to walk in that divinity, okay? Both sides are needed. And so for some of you who are going to be called into that type of lifestyle, into that type of life, and the only reason why you're called into that type of life is because your mission and your purpose requires it for the things you're supposed to be birthing and bringing into the world and creating and innovating together with your divine partner. You may be called into that, but you will be activated. You will be an activated one. You will be activated in your yin yang angel, demon, heaven, hell, light, dark. Okay. You will know how to draw boundaries and dare anybody to cross them. Okay. You will not be overly humble. You as an activated one, you're not going to show up to events where you know motherfuckers that don't like you. Where there's wolves in sheep clothing all around you. Now, you know you can show up as a wolf too. You can be, because guess what? What do? We either shift energies in the room or we are like chameleons and become one with the energy in the room, right? We know we can, but we don't fucking feel like it because you don't feel like alchemizing the unnecessary bullshit. So for those of you who are called into these types of positions of power and having these titles and whatever the case is, you're just not going to go. You're just not going to show up. You know who's a great example of this, and you can say what you want about these people, but a great example of this is Melania Trump. And Michelle Obama just recently, she didn't show up to a couple of events where Trump was, I guess, being honored or something. She didn't show up. Barack showed up, but she was like, guess what? When you activate your dark nature, your dark energy makes you wise. It makes you no longer a dumbass. It makes you no longer an easy target. You're not Pollyanna. You're not playing that overly humble role, and you're not smiling in the faces of people you know don't like you. Fuck all that. You're not doing it. You're simply not going. Okay? And you don't feel bad about it. And you don't give anybody an explanation. You're not going because you don't feel intuitively guided to go. You don't go to things because your spiritual guides, your Kundalini serpent energy has awakened you and made you more intuitive and hip to the shit. You can read the energy. It will tell you no. And you will not go. And it would be divine intervention. It would be your divine intuition and discernment that is protecting you. The reason why you're not going is not because you don't want to be social, but because you know that that is not the room or rooms for you. You simply will not go, and you will not care about what the press says or what the headlines say. Princess Diana on the other end, you know, she was taught to be this overly humble, girl next door, Pollyanna, doing what she's told as opposed to otherwise. And there was sometimes she did. Sometimes she, in one of her interviews, she, mentioned, sometimes she bucked the system. She did what she felt she could do in her time. And some of the things she did do in her time were, worthy of praise because, at that time, people weren't as open or outward with their expressions of individuality, especially as women in positions of power like she was, right? It would really be frowned upon. She did what she could do, but can you imagine if she was fully activated and not only just her light, but also her dark? Princess Diana will be alive right fucking now, having done what she came here to do. Now, I firmly believe that when we do not do what we come here to do the first time, because for some reason our lives got smited, we were murdered, right? For some of us here listening to this right now, obviously, if you got your copy of Activate, you already know what I'm about to say. If you haven't got your copy, go ahead and do that. All right. I talk about this extensively in Activate. But we were all of us were murdered, killed sometime in our past lives, being called witches, hung and burned because of our gifts and our abilities. And so when we don't complete what we were supposed to complete before, we come back and do the shit again. And so I firmly believe that Princess Diana, her energy, that spirit that embodied her body, it's all, if not coming back, if not already reincarnated to fulfill the things that she was supposed to do before her life was cut short. And maybe for many of you, that spirit will come back through you for you to do it, for us to do it here as alchemists. So when one of our fallen angels, gets smited, that energy continues to live on, and it will diversify itself through many of us who've answered the calling for us to complete what wasn't completed before through that person, through that avatar. And so anyway, I just wanted to share that. Listen, power is not for the weak. It is not. Activating your divine mission and purpose, alchemizing, is not for the weak. Awakening and healing your root chakra is not for the weak, because what you are healing and awakening is something formidable and divine and unfuckwithable. And you have got to be ready, because when you heal and activate, the paths that you walk down, the things that you're being called to do and create and say and write, the things you're being called to say in front of people who would frown at you and hate you and mock you and attempt to take your life, it is not for the weak. It is not for the faint of heart, as you already know. But you are not alone. So with that, I will say, activate responsibly, because power is not for the weak. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Please donate to Alcheminity to keep the messages coming. Make sure you like this if it resonates with you. All right. And share it as well. Get in the comment section, because that's where I am. Consider becoming a member here on YouTube to get access to some of the juicy, yummy, delicious, just too hot to share publicly content. You have to become a member to get access to that. So consider doing that. Also, join me over on patreon.com/alcheminity. The masterclass is there. Okay. And please donate. All right. Just Zelle, Cashapp, all that information is in the description box. I will speak to y'all in the next episode. Ciao for now. Mwah.